Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I told you all that I would make a recording for your orientation 1000 class today. I have a very important curriculum meeting on Wednesday to kind of wrap up our revisions, and so that's why I won't be able to meet with you all. So hopefully next week we'll be back to a regular schedule and we can go ahead and do our regular classwork from now on to the end of the semester. But in order to kind of get things done so we don't lose time, I'm going to go ahead and create this video for you all. And so I'm going to go and get into Joule, and we will do a little work today. All right, just about there. Okay. I want to spend a little time right now talking about the first assignment for Chapter 2, the time management assignment. And so you'll find it right here and there is a worksheet there. Says, where does the time go? All you've got to do is to answer the questions that you'll see right here. On the average, how many hours of sleep do you get in each 24-hour period, including the afternoon naps? So print this out and then write down the number of days that you sleep, or hours that you sleep. Then multiply that by 7, then that'll give you a number of hours per week. Then how many hours a day do you spend grooming and getting yourself ready for school? Write that down there, multiply it by 7, put your answer right there in the box. Then, how many hours a day do you spend on meals, cooking, cleaning up, and things like that? Take those hours, multiply by 7, put that in the box. Then, since we're a commuter campus, both here and in Abbeville, write down how many hours or how long it takes you to come to school in the morning and in the afternoons. How much time do you spend commuting? Put that number here, then multiply it by 5 since we're only in school 5 days a week. Put the answer there. How many hours during the week do you spend doing errands? Put that in the box, multiply by 7, put it right here. How many hours do you spend doing co-curricular activities like student organizations, working out, going to church, things like that? Put your hours here. How many hours a week do you work at a job? If you're working, put that right there in the blank. How many hours do you spend in class? Look at your class schedule. You ought to know that by now. Put how many hours you have there. Then how many hours of the week do you spend going out with friends, watching TV, going to parties, etc.? Put that right there. Then add up all those numbers right here and put it in this box. Then what you do is to come back here to this last sentence. It says that there's 168 hours in a week, and so that's how many hours we've got in 7 days. You take your answer right here and subtract from 168, and this is going to be like the amount of time that you've got left over. And so I want you in that assignment to decide whether or not that amount of time that you have left over is enough for you to be able to study. And when you come back to the assignment, here, and let me go back to where I was here. And so when you get back to the course, you will see your time management assignment. And let me change this up a little bit here real quick. I think we got a little issue here to be able to access that that assignment. There we go. Alright, so there's your assignment right here, time management assignment. All you got to do is just complete the where does the time go activity that you've typed out or printed out. Type below your final score or the hours that you have for studying, and a comment about whether or not you believe it is adequate for program success. And you just tell me. If you have 15 hours left, say yes, this is adequate for me to be able to study. No, it is not. That's all I want. And then all you do is type that in there and hit submit, and you are done. And so that's that assignment. So now I want to spend a little time talking about chapter 3 here, note taking. And so let me cover that real quick. There we go. Chapter 3. What you want to do is to look at this little acrostic right here, which says listen. And that's the key, being able to listen to your teacher to see what he or she has to say. And it stands for lead, ideas, summarize, talk, end, and notes. Usually, for the lead, a teacher will kind of say, okay, this is what we're going to be studying today. Sometimes pick up on, let's say if there was some homework or some loose ends from the class before, he or she will usually try to do that. So there's some time for us to kind of get settled down and focused on what the topic of that class is going to be. And then ideas. Many courses have all kinds of new information to pass on to you in the way of ideas and new knowledge and skills and things like that. Then being able to summarize. Whenever you take your notes, unless you got yourself some kind of tape recorder thing or something like that, the best that you and I can do is to sometimes just summarize what the teacher is saying. And obviously T for talk. Teachers up there lecturing and talking and explaining things. That's one thing, and you're sitting there listening and writing all those notes down. But then it's also important that sometimes that you'll sit down and talk with other students, your classmates, to kind of find out if they heard the same things that you did and understood the same things that you did, and also are able to kind of maybe fill in some gaps with some notes that maybe you didn't take or else missed or something. And so like that, you all can do little better quality work there. End, obviously there's an ending for your notes as you're getting them done. And then of course end for notes. That's what this is all about, taking notes in class so that you can study at a later date. But it all gets down to recording, reducing, recalling, and reviewing. You got to have some way to record your notes, whether you can write fast enough to be able to record everything down on a notebook. That's one thing. Some people will take recorders, and some teachers will be more than happy for you to record lectures. There are some technologies that we have available to us in our schools that will allow us to videotape a lecture, and so like that we've got all kinds of possibilities to be able to record in the sound and the voice of a teacher as they're teaching. Now, my advice to you is this: if you got a tape recorder, ask your teacher if it's okay with him or her to be able to record the lectures, just out of courtesy. You know, some people may have a problem with it, but in order to kind of do the right thing, ask them and see what they say. But then you got to have something to be able to write on, to be able to transcribe those notes. Have yourself a notebook that you can do that with. Then once you got all that good information, you got to have some way to reduce it. Obviously there'll be some things that are important, some that may not be. Let's face it, if your teacher is one of these kind of teachers that kind of likes to go off on tangents, you know, they'll tell you about their fishing trip or this vacation that they took, and you know, it's got nothing to do with the topic that you're trying to discuss. You know, that's stuff that you don't need in your notes. And so you sort of go back and reduce all that information to really what's important. And obviously you got to recall it. If you're just writing down notes and that's it, you might miss something. And certainly if you haven't gone back and reviewed your notes in a while, if you're like me, your memory can give you a problem, and you may forget some kind of important topic or something that was said that really is going to be, you know, prime information on a test or something like that. And so it's good to go back and do all of this right after the lecture or as soon after, so that you don't forget everything, because the longer you wait, the less you will remember. And then of course you need to review your notes, so that all that stays fresh in your mind. And so if it's fresh in your mind, chances are you'll be able to utilize that and access that information when it's time to take a test. Now, here's some note-taking tips. Don't be afraid to read or skim your text before class. Some people have a problem with that. They don't like to use their book. Well, that's what you bought it for and paid a whole lot of money for. Read your book. And there's no law that says you can't read ahead to kind of get prepared. So use that textbook. And there's no law that says that you can't come to class early and stay after the class is over. Too many times, excuse me, you know, it's like this wild stampede at the end of class, everybody trying to get out the door. Go to class early unless there's a seating chart that you have an assigned seat. Try to find yourself a seat up close to the front of the teacher so that you can see him or her and listen to him. Get a good seat. And then if you have an opportunity after class, and if you have any questions, to ask the teacher before they leave. That's a good time to do those kinds of things. And obviously sit close to the teacher, because the closer you are, the better you ought to be able to hear them. Number 4, don't try to take everything down unless you know how to do shorthand or can write super fast and take everything down word for word. Pick the most important information and write it down. You don't need to put everything down, just what counts. Then you can kind of use abbreviations. That's a method that I used when I was in college. I had my own little shorthand set of abbreviations that I would utilize, and when people would ask me to use my notes there, they were always having problems reading stuff because I'd abbreviate stuff and they didn't know what I was talking about. And so it worked for me. I know that it would work for you, but you know what the abbreviations are and what they mean. Just helps you be able to write down information faster. Use lots of paper. Paper is relatively cheap. I would buy myself a 3 or 5 divider notebook every semester and tear out all the dividers, so I had one whole big old notebook, and I'd fill it up. Take notes on one page, and then when I get to the end of the notebook, I'd flip it over and I'd start taking notes going back towards the front. So I'd use, in some cases, both sides of my sheets. Being that, obviously it wasn't because, money was tight that I couldn't afford another notebook. It was that I wanted to keep my notes all in one notebook, so that I knew everything was in one place. So if I had another 2 or 3 notebooks, I could have those in 2 or 3 different places, and if I needed them, I couldn't find them. So just to keep things organized and in one place, I just use one notebook, front side and back side of the sheet of paper. Leave spaces if you can't keep up. If you miss something, you get distracted or something happens, leave a space where that is. And sometimes you can ask a classmate and talk to them, and sometimes you can go back and fill in the blanks there. Use a separate binder for each subject, and that's what I did when I was in college. Worked great. And so like that, your English notes were in that English binder, your math was in the math one, and so like that, they weren't all over the place. Don't rewrite. When you got a teacher that's talking 90 miles an hour, you don't have time to erase or rewrite. Just cross everything out and just keep on going. Neatness is not the key here. What's important is getting the information down on paper. And then compare your notes. Good thing to get with your classmates and have study sessions, so you can compare your notes, and like that, everybody benefits. Now, for taking notes from your text, they have this S4R methods. S stands for survey, then you read, write, recall, and review. Now, S, basically surveying your textbook. Today, textbook publishers have all kinds of wonderful information in them to kind of help you study. They'll highlight stuff. They'll have bold headings and things like that, so you know exactly what's in the sections that you're studying. They've really done a good job trying to organize information in a very logical way, and also for you to be able to to get to that information very, very quickly. So survey your chapter. You'll be surprised what you're going to find there. Then, of course, read the book. Read your chapters. Maybe once, if you're lucky, twice. Read and reread. And then write. That's one of the things that worked for me. When I read my chapters, I had my notebook handy, and I would write down stuff that I was maybe unclear about, or else stuff that was really important. And like that, if I was unclear about it, I'd ask the teacher about it in class. And he or she was more than happy to answer those questions. And then recall. That's the big key. Can you recall that information whenever you have a test, or when you need to know it? And then lastly, review. Always go over and refresh your mind, refresh your memory on all this information. Now, there's our information on Chapter 3. I'm going to move on to Chapter 4 here, and we're going to be continuing looking at your study habits, and so and certainly looking at everything we can do to make you successful in your educational endeavors, and certainly note taking is one of those things. But now, what about studying? Because we all need to study. Well, number one is kind of a no-brainer, but yet it's very, very important. That's attend classes. Too many times every semester, every seat is filled during the beginning of the semester, but usually between midterm and the beginning of the semester, half the class sometimes is gone. I'm just surprised at some of the classes that I've had this semester. There's hardly anybody in them now. Whether that's me or they just dropped out, I don't know. But if you don't attend class, your chances of success kind of go down real big. And so go to class. I know there may be other things that you'd rather do, but discipline yourself to go to class. You'd be surprised what you'll learn when you're there. Also, get to know your instructor. He or she can give you a wealth of information about the subject that you're studying, and also, if you're in a technical area, being prepared for that occupation. They are really good resources. And obviously, once you get out and go to work, they can continue to be so. Third point, schedule regular study periods. Get into a nice little routine of trying to stay on task. Get yourself a little place and an area where you can study. And then number 4, be realistic. Can't make A's all the time. Some of this information that you may be covering might be quite difficult. So be realistic about your expectations, about what you're going to be doing. And of course, establish a regular study area. Get yourself a spot away from everybody that you can study. Study short and often. Don't be afraid to study in little 15-minute chunks. If you sit down like we've seen in colleges where people will sit down and study for hours and hours and hours, try to memorize stuff, that doesn't always work. Take yourself some little short study and intense study sessions where your brain can focus on that information. Instead of having to try to focus on trying to stay awake, or else you're so tired nothing sticks. Short and often study sessions will really work for you. Of course, start your study sessions on time. Try to get into a routine so that your mind and your body get prepared to do that kind of thing. And then study when you're wide awake. You don't want to study whenever you're about to fall asleep. It's not going to be productive. Set a specific goal for each subject you study. You know, say I'm going to study these units, or these pages, or this chapter. Just set a goal. This is what I'm going to study, and this is what I'm going to cover, and then do it. And then number 10, start your assignments as soon as they're given. Don't procrastinate, because stuff happens that, you know, want to keep delaying us from getting something done. And then after a while, here's the deadline. We're all in a panic because we don't have enough time to get it done. Study your most difficult subjects first. While your brain's fresh and ready to go, study your hard subjects. Then review your notes regularly on a daily basis would be my recommendation. Look at them at least once a day, just so that you can keep them fresh in your memory. And number 13, take regular breaks. Give your brain a rest. Study for a little while, then get up, stretch, change positions, get a drink of water, go to the bathroom, but take a break. Then come back and get after it. You'll find your brain will be fresher, and that you can study longer and stretch it out longer because you've taken some little breaks, and you won't get as tired mentally. Vary your work. You know, don't study one thing all the time. Study one subject and for a period of time, and then switch to another one. And problem solve. You know, try to go beyond just kind of memorizing facts and figures and things like that. Be able to kind of see the big picture of what it is you're studying, see how it fits with other stuff, and kind of take what you're learning and kind of apply it in real life. Sometimes you can, sometimes it's not that easy to do, but it's a good exercise. And then reward yourself. Hey, you do good job on a test, pass it, make a good grade, go out there and treat yourself to a shopping spree, or else maybe dinner out somewhere. Do something good for yourself, because you've earned it. And then number 17, keep on top of it. Don't let it overwhelm you. Do something every day. Stay focused and stay on top of what you got to do, because it can overwhelm you very, very easily. This slide is about I can't concentrate. Well, how many times have I ever heard that? Well, first thing you want to do is clear your mind. If you got all kinds of other things going on around you, your mind's going to be wandering. Put all that aside and focus on the job at hand. And that kind of leads to the second one. Focus. You know, don't think about anything else. Don't worry about anything else. Just focus on what it is you're trying to study. And don't worry about it. I mean, people get all worked up about all of this stuff. All you've got to do is to do your due diligence for this subject matter. Study it, prepare yourself, and don't worry about what the teacher's going to have on the test. He or she might have told you, what to expect, but I've seen people kind of freak themselves out because they were so worried about, is this going to be on the test? Is that going to be on the test? Well, assume everything is going to be on the test and study accordingly. And so like that, you're not second guessing yourself or trying to second guess the teacher. do what you have to do. And of course, switch subjects frequently. You don't want to study the same thing for hours and hours and hours. Get some variety, and like that you'll cover more information. And then do not disturb. Find yourself a place where you can get away from everybody and everything and the cell phone and all the other stuff, so that you can sit down and focus and do what you've got to do to pass. Every 18 months, it's been my pleasure to attend the graduation of our LPNs in our LPN program. And their little pinning ceremony is rather unique, because one part of it, they get a chance to thank all the family and friends that have gotten them to this point. And it never fails that a bunch of them will always say how they were able to study or attend study sessions because somebody took care of the kids, somebody brought the kids somewhere, or else took over some chores that they had to do, so that they were able to sit down and study and do what they had to do to prepare for their test. And so same would be true for you. Don't disturb you. Get some place where you can focus and not have all the things going on around you that normally happen. And then the last thing, of course, is sleep. Get yourself some sleep, so that you can be rested, relaxed, and focused on what it is you need to do. I'm going to kind of just hit these real quick here. Don't forget to remember. Well, as older I get, the more this kind of hits home here. But our memories, especially my memory, the older I get, is not that great. But yet, our memories is what's going to help us get through college, so we can remember what we've studied to be able to pass tests. But be selective, focus on the important things. Repeat after me. Sit down and just kind of speak what it is that you're studying, and kind of repeat it. And so just hearing it and talking about it kind of helps use more senses, so that your brain will retain it better. And just be intent on remembering. Say, I'm going to remember this stuff, and just be proactive about it. Like what you learn, because if we like something, chances are we're going to probably remember it better. And find some meaning in it. Get something out of it. And get organized. The more organization you have and structure you have in your studying, the more productive you're going to be. Find a pattern, make a rhyme, use acronyms. These are all kinds of little tricks that you can kind of learn to kind of remember stuff. Like this last couple of weeks, or at least last couple of days, in my developmental ed class, we've been using what is called the FOIL method to do equations and to do some work. Well, FOIL stands for first, outside, inside, and then last, where you multiply and combined variables and things like that. Well, those kinds of little acronyms help you to remember stuff. Assign a number, where you will put a importance on something. You're saying, okay, this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3. Okay, then I'll go to topic number 1 first, because it's most important. Then once I'm done with that one, then number 2, then number 3. Put some kind of order to it. Come to your senses. Our senses are probably one of our most powerful tools for learning. Be able to see, touch, feel, hear things. Use all your senses. Keep it short. You know, I'm amazed at all these people who can memorize like the Gettysburg Address or all kinds of other things and be able to repeat them verbatim. Well, I'm only good for like a few sentences or a few words. But if you're trying to learn or memorize things, keep it in short chunks. You'd be surprised what you'll be able to retain. Concentrate on the middle. Sometimes our brains will be really focused on the front end of some information and then on the back end. And all that information in the middle, our brain kind of gets on cruise control and kind of just goes over that and isn't as focused as we'd like it to be. So stay focused on the front end to the back end of that information. Again, sleep on it. Get some rest. You can't study if you're sleeping. Well, here we go. Let's see if we can move forward. Here we go. Now, studying isn't everything. You got a life, and school is just one part of that whole total picture. But you got some tools to help you succeed. First of all is your faculty. All of your teachers are wonderful resources to help you get through this process. They want to see you succeed. We don't get paid extra for flunking people. We want to see people go through our programs and our courses, pass them, and keep moving on, because we want to see you at graduation. We want to celebrate your accomplishments, and then your accomplishments after college. I get students that I see around town or wherever I'm going that'll come up to me, and you know, I may not remember them, but they remember me, and we get caught up on what they've been doing since school, and that's a wonderful thing. It really lifts my day whenever I can see some of my former students and find out just how well they're doing in their chosen professions. And so get to know your faculty and the right approach. You know, be all in. I like that term. Put forth your total effort into succeeding. You know, some people are. When I ask them sometimes, when I've taught this course before, why are you here? Well, they'll say, well, Mama and Daddy made me come to school. I thought I'd come. They got some free money that I can get. Well, there's all kinds of reasons to come and get an education. Some are a whole lot better than others. Take the right approach. This is a career. This is something that I want to do the rest of my life, and put your energy into accomplishing that. And then enjoy the college life. You know, meeting new people, being asked to do things that you hadn't maybe done before. College life is really a wonderful time in your life. It was in mine. It wasn't easy, but had some very, very good experiences as an undergraduate and graduate student. So take time to enjoy it. Now, we're going to go over Chapter 5, and I'm going to just kind of wrap it up after Chapter 5 here, but some of you, maybe not all of you, but some of you may be asked from time to time to be able to write some things. And so we're going to talk a little bit about reports and writing assignments and stuff like that. First of all, you want the right topic. Certainly, if you got a chance to choose your topic, write on something that you like. Then put it all together. You want it in a nice, logical pattern where somebody, if they're reading it, can kind of follow. I had a young lady that came out there one time that wasn't a student here, but since we were a technical college and I taught English, the administrator sent her to me. She asked me to read some poetry that she wrote and kind of proofread it. Well, I don't know beans about poetry, and I found that one of the most difficult things because I couldn't follow what this young lady was talking about. I didn't know what she was trying to say or anything like that. And when she'd come by to visit with me, I could see in her face the frustration that she had, because, like saying, this guy didn't have a clue what I'm talking about, and I didn't. And so the topics that she thought were important certainly weren't important to me. Put it all together again, putting it in a nice logical form that the reader can kind of follow. Begin and end well. Your beginning is one of the most important parts of your paper. It ought to grab the reader's attention and make him or her want to read the rest of this. And then at the end, you ought to be able to draw your conclusions or make the reader say, okay, everything that I needed to know was presented and wrapped up. And so don't leave your readers hanging. There's essays versus reports. Essays sometimes can be really general and informal in the way that they're written and stuff like that. Reports aren't. They're very formal. They're very structured. This information goes here. The next section has something else, and so they're very structured. So now whether you're asked to write a report or an essay just depends upon the class that you're in. You can judge a book by its cover. You'd be surprised what the title of a book will tell you, as well as its table of contents. So find your resources, find your books, and use all those library resources to your advantages. References, certainly, you'll hear a whole lot talked about plagiarism, where that means that you're taking somebody's information that they've put together and that they have researched and so forth, and you put your name on it, or you basically copy what they say and put it in your report, and don't give them credit for that information. That's a ticket out of school real quick. It's a crime. And so always be sure to cite your references. Put them in a bibliography. That's where they belong. Whether it's 5, 50, or whatever many references you've got, you put them in that bibliography. And of course, plagiarism I've just mentioned. Be surprised how rampant it is in higher education, unfortunately. So I think this will get us through a number of chapters. Go ahead and take the test or quiz on chapter 3, 4, and 5. And so what I'll do is whenever we get back next week, I'll go over chapter 6 and 7, and we're going to pretty much be almost done with the course. I have 2 more sections that I'll give you access to over the next couple of weeks, and we will be wrapping this thing up very quickly. So go ahead and take your quizzes, and I will be looking forward to seeing y'all in person or on video next Wednesday. And so if you have any questions, don't feel free to contact me. Your probably best bet will be to email me, and I'll get back with you. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video right here, and get it posted as soon as I can before Wednesday. Have a great day.